welcome Star Wars fans all across the galaxy. This is Uneducated Star Wars Talk, brought to you by the Uneducated Network. I'm your host, Chris Lambert, and thanks for making me a part of your day. Now, as you would expect, I'm here to do a more in-depth look at the trailer, a breakdown, if you will. If you haven't seen my first reaction to the trailer, that's with me watching it like immediately after the trailer went off. Just click the videos button, go down to that, get at a look, and then catch me back right here for a more in-depth look. And also press that subscribe button if you haven't already, and share this with a friend so they can like and subscribe as well. Starting off, I'm gonna start with the beginning of the trailer. Obviously, that's what I'm gonna start with Snoke telling Kylo, well, who we assume to be Kylo. Some people seem to be subscribing to the he's talking to Rey thing, and I'm gonna stick with the Kylo. It seems more he's talking to Kylo, but him saying to Kylo, when he met him, when he found him, he was nothing but raw, untamed power, and that line really kind of sticks with me because when did exactly Snoke meet Kylo? Well, Ben at that point when he meets him, because to me, when I think of raw power, I think of power that hasn't been trained yet, power that hasn't been honed, that you haven't honed your skills. Like you have the ability to do things, but you haven't honed your technique. Like to use a quick sports metaphor, I think of like a speedster in the NFL or a track maybe. You're naturally gifted at speed. Yes, you're naturally fast, but you have to work on that your running form, your footwork, and all that to best utilize that speed. So you can have the raw speed, but you gotta utilize and hone those skills. So right there, and that's what I think of when I think of Snoke saying Kylo's raw power. And was Snoke? We know for Snoke was been in the picture, but how long was he in the picture? Was it because it seems to me, based off of the raw power, his raw power when he found him, that maybe maybe Snoke was in the picture, maybe while Luke was training him, and Luke didn't see Snoke or didn't feel Snoke getting that Kylo right under his wing. So that raises a lot of questions to me. And the untamed part of that sentence, to me, if I'm Kylo, I'm like, untamed? What you mean untamed? Because when I think of tamed, I think of animals being tamed and controlled, basically, if you will. So those kind of lines stuck out to me. And that raises that question to me, like, when exactly did Snoke come into the picture with Kylo? And yeah, obviously he's been there since then, but when exactly was that? Because based off of Bloodline, and which was a novel by Claudia Gray. Read that if you haven't, because that's a great book. Like I keep saying, anytime I have to mention a Claudia Gray book, it's usually going to be a great book. But based off of that, Kylo finds out that Vader's his grandfather 6 years before the Force Awakens, or that's when it comes out to the galaxy, and they make it seem like that was the tipping point of him turning to Ben Solo based off of everything else, because we don't know too much else based in that era of Star Wars. So based off of that assumption that that's what tipped the scale, how long before that was Snoke in the picture whispering in Kylo's ear, and had Snoke not told him that already? Because we know Leia hasn't heard from Kylo and Luke for a while, even at that point 5 years before The Force Awakens. So I'm interested to see that timeline, see when Snoke actually got in Kylo's ear. How was he being able to get to Ben without Luke knowing? Because Luke's a Jedi Master at this time, and I realized Luke was starting a Jedi Academy. He probably got other students to tend to. He couldn't just keep an eye on his nephew, but I would think Grandmaster Luke would feel outside presence trying to manipulate his nephew, if you will. Next shot was the M6 walkers on the planet Crate, and that was a great shot. It harkened back to the Empire Strikes Back, and I don't want to hear this crap about this movie probably going to be a rehash of Empire, because yes, it's the second story in this trilogy, so it's going to be dark, and it's going to follow a lot of the same beats as we already see, but the story calls for it. That's where we left off in The Force Awakens, and the story calls for these type of actions. No way I think this is going to be a straight rehash of Empire Strikes Back. I think it even might outdo Empire Strikes Back as one of our favorite Star Wars movies of all time so far. But the M6 walkers on Crate, that was just great. They look so imposing. They look huge, because I do see some of the traditional AT-AT walkers in the line with them. And you can just tell by the size comparisons how big the new M6 walkers are with their cannons on their back, and that was a great shot. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, and I'm great. Can't wait to see that battle of Crate and see how the Resistance make it out of there against those big imposing walkers. On to the Rey and Luke on Oct 2. This was some great stuff, and like I said in my first reaction, Luke looks like he's acting his butt off. Luke might be up for an Oscar for this movie, if possible, maybe. I don't know if that'll happen in a Star Wars movie. You know how they tend to keep us out of those. But anyway, Luke, it looked like he's acting his butt off, and it's great. And something stuck out to me on Act 2 when we see Rey and Luke, the ground cracking. You seeing Luke's reaction. That was great. And his line to I'm sorry, his line to Rey about him seeing this type of raw power. That's a great parallel between Kylo now and Rey. That's a great parallel. How Ryan Johnson said they're basically written from a certain point of view the two protagonists of the movie, and that's who we'll be following. And that was, like I said, that was just a great line about he's seen this raw power before and didn't scare him enough then, but it scares him now. And that was a great line because we get a sense of just how strong Rey is, which raises even more questions. Well, where does she come from? Because to me, I was a subscriber to the Rey is a Skywalker type thing. I was more on that train, but based off of this trailer, I kind of have to go away from that because kind of see no evidence that Luke even knows the girl from based off of the trailer, in my point of view. But him and Rey, like I said, Luke's shocking look at knowing, seeing how powerful she is, and I'm interested to see when she comes out of the water. That looks like a scene to me that might be the same as Luke seeing Vader in Empire Strikes Back when he goes in to the cave that Yoda tells him to go into. That is nothing but darkness. Maybe Rey when she goes for that deep dive that we see in the trailer when she goes down that water and comes up and Luke's just sitting there. It looks like that type of moment to me. And then later on in the trailer, we hear Luke say that this is not gonna go the way you think. To me, this is just me speculating a little, and that's what we love to do as Star Wars fans. So I'm gonna lay a little speculation on y'all. I think Luke and Rey may have a little scuffle. I think her going into the water is one of those force tree, if you will, moments that Yoda and Luke had on Dagobah. I think that is that type of moment. Maybe she sees Finn getting in trouble on his undercover mission, and she goes to try to stop him. Luke says no. Maybe tries to really hold her against her will on Act 2 to finish her training because he knows, in his point of view, probably this is for the best. Hey, I've been down this road, lost a hand, realized something I didn't want to realize, finish your training. Ray probably is not going to have it. Gonna probably maybe force push Luke out the way because we do see Luke when he says that line, he's kind of leaning back on the ground. So I'm thinking maybe that happens. So we'll get to see Ray maybe test her power on Luke, and we'll have a little jump moment of ourselves, which I'd love to see that. And once again, that's just speculation on my part based off a trailer. And who knows if everything in this trailer will even make it in the movie, or maybe this trailer was just shot for just the trailer. But based off the trailer, that's kind of my little theory of that moment. Maybe Ray and Luke get into a little squabble. Next is the Kylo moments in the beginning of the trailer because they were great too. They remind me a lot of Anakin in not Empire. I'm sorry, in Revenge of the Sith. Like the moment he looked like he's walking into the maybe on Crate. A lot of people say it's Crate, but I'm not too sure if it's Crate. Crate ground was more white. Maybe this is just a cave on Crate to the back of the Resistance base. Maybe I'm not sure, but when him and his First Order troops are walking in, it reminded me a lot of when Anakin was attacking the Jedi Temple and that march with the troops with him in front. It reminded me a lot like that. And then when he's spinning his TIE silencer and all around, that reminded me a lot of when Anakin did the same thing to dodge the droid torpedo. So you can see him taking on a little bit, looking a little bit like his grandfather in his younger days. And that was cool to me. Harkens back. That's my favorite Star Wars movie is Episode 3. So it was great to see references of that within these characters and seeing like family ties, if you will. How conflicted Kylo was. That was great to me in the trailer when he goes to, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, maybe it could be shot different scenes of the movie, but when it's insinuated that he's about to take Leia ships down, and he's real conflicted about it. You see his lips quivering, look like he doesn't know if he really want to do it, and I actually don't think he does because we see Leia on crate, and I think that moment where we see because he has the back the band-aid, if you will. That don't It looks like a band-aid maybe for his scar, but you see him have that on earlier in the trailer, and look like he might have that on earlier in the movie because we don't see him with it at the end of the trailer. But I'll get to that in a minute. But I think that's at the beginning of the movie. I think this is actually probably the first big battle of the movie when the First Order goes to attack Dakar, the planet that the Resistance was on in The Force Awakens. I think they evacuate that and go to Crate, and maybe the Empire tries to cut him off, and Kylo maybe has a shot at taking out his mom, and he doesn't take it. And I think that's where him and Snoke might have a little beef, and him and his Praetorian guards might go around or two, and we'll see where things go from that. But once again, that's all speculation. We love to do that here. So like, all of the Leia moments that we've seen her in the movie or in the behind the scenes reel, it's just I love seeing her, and great to see her this for this last time. I can't wait to see her performance in the movie. It's bound to be great. They said she had a great time, and just can't wait to see that. And it tugs at your heart anytime you see Leia on the screen, especially looking outside the doors on Crate. That was a great shot. Finn and Phasma. I'm so excited for that, and I'm curious to see how this goes because it looks like Finn gets captured. I know him and Rose, another side character within the movie, who's from the Resistance. I know him and her go undercover to infiltrate the First Order because we see that in the behind the scenes thing. Him and her look like getting on the elevator or something, but it looks like he's getting captured in the trailer, and I'm interested to see that because this what played along with my Rey theory that she tries to get off R2, and maybe Luke doesn't let her, or tries to not to let her, and she knocks him out the way because this looked like he's full on captured, and maybe this shot when he's fighting Phasma, it looked like it could be in the same area that Kylo was standing in at the beginning of the trailer. It looked like it could be maybe that's Snoke's supremacy super capital ship. Maybe that's that because I know they said that can build ships and repair ships on it and holds a lot of things because it's 60 kilometers, which is like 30 something miles here. But that's beside the point. But it's a big crazy ship. And in the background, it looked like it could be that ship just with like explosions and stuff going on in the background. But Finn is in a resistance officer's clothing look like, so maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just that's what it looked like to me in the setting. But I can't wait to see that fight. I'm a big Phasma fan. I liked her in the last movie. It was just I wanted more from her. I knew they would do more from her because they had a lot of stories to tell in the last movie, in The Force Awakens. So I read the book. You can catch that review on the channel. Look it up. But I'm super excited about Phasma now, and she strikes. You should be afraid for Finn, and I don't truly know who wins that wins that fight. Will Finn take a lightsaber to the back in the last movie and then turn out get killed in this movie? I don't know. I don't know if they'll do that to a real fan love guy because the fans really gravitated towards Finn. But to me, for Phasma to really be taken seriously, because I know a lot of people maybe haven't read her book and she just maybe just another side character to people, but for people for the general audience to see Phasma as a general threat, I think she has to take out somebody big within the Resistance. Maybe not Finn. I don't know if Poe Weister does, maybe, but because he's more of a starfighter pilot, maybe he's gonna be doing that type of thing. But I want Phasma to be taken seriously, not just by me because I read the book and I know what she's capable of, but I want the general audience to see what Phasma really can do. And I feel like the only way to really get that across is have her take out somebody that means something. And Finn is her rival right now, so it could be Finn. And let me know in the comments what do you think about that fight. Who you think gonna make it out? The ending of the trailer is the big punchline. Ray and look like Kylo look like they're gonna team up. And to me, this was like the biggest misdirect. After further review, this was the biggest misdirection in the trailer to me because you can see if you're looking like I know at first when I first watched it I wasn't looking at outfits and hairstyles and stuff like that, but watching the trailer again you can see that Rey's in her gear that she had at the end of the Force Awakens. So that's probably at the beginning of the movie when she's probably trying to talking to Luke when she's telling Luke that she needs somebody to help her find her place in all this. And the lighting on her face may be just like the campfire or the sun going down on R2 or something like that. They did a great job of making it look like it was her and Kylo at the same place. But Kylo, I am interested to see who is he holding his hand out. It could still be Rey, but I do believe maybe that line that Rey says when we see her saying that line is probably at the beginning of the movie. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing either Rey go dark. I don't know about Kylo going back good. I want him to be. I loved Kylo Ren as a villain. I wanted him to surpass Vader as the scariest Star Wars villain. But I'm not too sure about how I feel about him going good. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he killed Han Solo. I'm not that attached to Han Solo to have a problem with him say he's unredeemable because he killed Han Solo. It was a character driven thing. You know what I mean? We can't let our love for these characters sway us from the story that's being told for us. So, it was a character driven thing. He thought it would have made it strong, and it turned out it didn't even work for Kylo. It just made him weaker. He felt worse. So I'm interested to see what further takes him down that darker path. Maybe it is. Maybe he tries to kill Leia. Maybe he actually does, and he stays that bad guy. Or maybe he realizes he can't do this type of stuff and comes back to the light, or just want to do his own thing now. He don't want to follow rules. He just want to be his own guy. Let me know in the comments what you think Kylo's motivations are. That's really it. Let me know if I missed something. I know I forgot to mention Chewie and the Porg. That was a great scene, doing a battle cry. Let me know how you feel about the Porgs. I know I haven't really addressed the Porgs too much on my page. It's not really a big thing. I just don't want them to turn to Ewoks, so I try not to give them the Ewok attention because they are cute. My daughter actually likes them. I'm okay with them as long as they not, taking down the First Order or something like that. I'm okay with them. Let them be the comic little relief for the couple moments of levity that we will need in a Star Wars movie. And I'm okay with them. They just don't have. I just hope they're not a big plot point. But other than that, I'm okay with the Porgs and the Ice Space Fox, if you will. That looked real cool. My girlfriend would have killed me if I wouldn't have mentioned that because she really liked that look. And I don't think it really plays too much in the Rebels. It reminded me a lot of the wolves in the Rebels trailer, but I'm for certain it probably won't have really nothing to do with it. Probably it's just an indigenous species that live on Crate, and that's really it. And let me know, like I said, let me know in the comments if I missed something. Leave a like and subscribe. Share with a friend. Until next time, I'm Chris Lambert. Bye-bye.